Up next, we have R5 review. So we're going to do the first half of R5, which is polynomial multiplication. So now we're going to be multiplying polynomials together. So in multiplying polynomials, we multiply the coefficients and multiply the variables with exponents. So we add the exponents if the base is the same, just like we did in P1 and P2. So we add exponents if the base is the same. So an example of that would be like if I had 3x times 2x to the fourth power. I multiply the coefficients together, so 3 times 2 would be 6, and then I add the exponent. So this would be x to the first power, 1 plus 4 is 5, so x to the fifth power. So that would be how I multiply them. If I multiply binomials, so binomials are when you have two terms, so if I had like x plus 1 and x minus 2 or something like that, or it could be 2x minus 2. Anything that has two terms times two terms, we have to FOIL. So remember, when we FOIL, we multiply the first ones together, the outsides together, the insides together, and then the last together. And then we combine like terms. When we're just multiplying one term on the outside by multiple things on the inside, we have to distribute. So we start by multiplying x times 5x. So this would be 5x squared. Just like we multiplied variables with exponents in R1 and R2, these both have a 1, so that's why it becomes x squared. And then we multiply x times the second number in the parentheses, so this would be plus 2x. And that would be our answer. These are not like terms, so we can't add them. For number 2, again, we have one term on the outside multiplied to two terms on the inside, so we have to distribute. 2y cubed times 3y, you multiply the coefficients together, so 2 times 3 would be 6, and then multiply the variables together. So y cubed times y would be y to the fourth power. And then 2y cubed times negative 2 would be negative 4y cubed. And that's our answer. Again, these are not like terms, so we can't add them together. Next, for number 3, we have one term on the outside, 3 terms now on the inside, so we multiply x times 3x squared, which would be 3x to the third power. And then x times negative x would be negative x squared. And then x times 1 would just be plus x. So we would say 1x, but we don't write a 1 when the coefficient is just 1. So it's just x. And then for 4, so we have one term on the outside, again 3 terms on the inside, so we have to distribute. Y squared times 4y squared would be 4y to the fourth power, because I have 2 y's and 2 y's, so we add them together until we get 4. Then I have y squared times 2y, so this would be plus 2y to the third power. Again, 2 y's on the outside, 1 y on the inside. When we multiply, add the exponents, so that's how we get y to the third power. And then lastly, y squared times negative 3 would be negative 3y squared. These are not like terms, so we just leave it like this. Next, when we have a binomial times a binomial, so it'll look like this, and we'll have 2 terms on the inside times 2 terms on the inside, okay, another parentheses, we have to FOIL. So when we FOIL, we multiply the first terms together, so F stands for first, O stands for outer, I stands for inner, and then L stands for last. So we start by multiplying the first 2 terms together, then the outside, then the insides, then the last terms. So for number 5, start by multiplying the first 2 terms in our parentheses. So x times x would be x squared. Then we multiply the outer terms. So the two outside ones would be x times -3, so that is -3x. Then the inner terms would be 2 times x, so that would be plus 2x. And then the last terms would be 2 times -3, which is -6. Here we have two like terms in the middle, so I combine them so that x squared stays the same. -3x plus 2x, we just add the coefficients together and our variable stays the same. So this would be -1x, or just -x minus 6. And that's our answer. All right, next, number 6. So again, a binomial times a binomial, we have to FOIL. Start by multiplying the first terms. So x times x would be x squared. Then the outer plus 4x. Then the inner would be -8x. And then the last one's -8 times 4 would be -32. Then we have to combine our like terms. So 4x and -8x would be -4x. And the rest of it just stays the same. So x squared minus 4x minus 32. That would be our answer. All right, next, let's look at 7. Again, binomial times binomial, we have to FOIL. So we start by multiplying our first two terms. So 3x times 5x, multiply the coefficients together. So this would be 15x squared. Then we multiply the outsides. So 3x times 7. 3 times 7 would be 21x. Then the insides together. 2 times 5x. -2 times 5 would be -10x. And then -2 times 7 would be -14. Next, we want to combine like terms. So we have 21x minus 10x. So this would be 11x. And then the other parts just stay the same. So 15x squared plus 11x minus 14 is our answer. All right, now let's look at 8. So start by multiplying the first together. 4 times 7 would be 28, and then I have an x and an x, so that would be x squared, so 28x squared. Then the outsides would be -21x. The insides, -2 times 4x would be -8x. And then the last ones would be -2 times -3, so +6. Then we're going to combine our like terms, so that 28x squared stays the same. And then I have minus 21x minus 8x, so this would be minus 29x. So you just combine the coefficients, the variable part stays the same, and then plus 6. All right, for the next two examples, we have a trinomial times a trinomial. So 3 terms here, 3 terms here. So we are still foiling, but it's like foiling on steroids, I guess you could say. So every term in our first parentheses is going to get multiplied to every term in the second parentheses. So we start with x squared. So we're going to multiply x squared times x squared. So that would be x to the 4th power because we add the exponents. Then x squared times 2x would be 2x cubed. And then x squared times 2 would be 2x squared. All right, next we have -2x. So we start by multiplying the first thing in the next parentheses. So -2 times x squared would be -2x times x squared would be -2x cubed. -2x times +2x would be -4x squared. And then -2x times 2 would be -4x. And then we move to our last term in the first set of parentheses, and that needs to get multiplied to everything in the second set. So 2 times x squared would be 2x squared. 2 times 2x would be 4x. And then 2 times 2 is 4. Then we need to combine our like terms. So I would always suggest starting with the highest degree. So that is x to the 4th power. We only have one of those, so we don't need to worry about adding it to anything else. Then I'll go to my x cubed, so x to the 3rd power. I have 2x to the 3rd power minus 2x to the 3rd power. So 2 minus 2 becomes 0. So these actually cancel each other out. Next, I'm going to move on to the x squared. So I have 2x squared minus 4x squared plus 2x squared. So this would be 2 minus 4 plus 2. So 2 minus 4 would be negative 2. And negative 2 plus 2 is actually 0 again. So these end up canceling each other out again here. And then I have negative 4x plus 4x, which negative 4 plus 4 ends up being 0. So those will cancel each other out there. And then my constant is 4, so just plus 4. So coincidentally here, everything ended up canceling each other out, and we're just left with x to the 4th power plus 4. All right, looking at number 9. Everything in our first parentheses has to get multiplied to everything in the second. So I'm going to start with my first term in the first set and multiply that to all 3 things in the second set. So 2x squared times x squared would be 2x to the 4th power. 2x squared times 3x. 2 times 3 is 6. Then we have x to the 3rd power. And then 2x squared times 2 would be 4x squared. Next, we move on to the second term and multiply that times all 3 things in the next set. So x squared, negative x times x squared would be negative x cubed. Negative x times 3x would be negative 3x squared. And then negative x times 2 would be negative 2x. Then we're going to move to the third term, multiply that to all 3 things in the second set. So 4 times x squared would be 4x squared. 4 times 3x would be 12x. And 4 times 2 is 8. And then next we combine like terms. So we start with our highest degree, so that'll be 2x to the 4th power. Next, I'm going to combine my x cubes. So I only have 2 x cubes here, so 6x cubed minus x cubed. So that would be like 6 minus 1, which is 5x cubed. So I'm going to move on to my x squared. So I have 4x squared plus 4x squared and a minus 3x squared. So 4 minus 3 plus 4. 4 minus 3 would be 1, and 1 plus 4 would be 5. So this is 5x squared. Then just my x's. So I have negative 2x plus 12x. So 12 minus 2 would be 10, so plus 10x. And then only one constant, so just plus 8. And that would be my answer. So this is where we're going to end the video today. We're going to finish the last 4 slides on Monday. So the special products we'll do on Monday. The homework only relates to these first 4 slides, so make sure you watch the video and do the homework over the long weekend. Have a good weekend. I'll see you guys on Tuesday.